Good morning, my fellow traders. Njabulin Subande here. It is five. Let's see the time. It's 4:40 in the morning. It's 5 July 2021. As I go through the market scan, preparing for the open to see if there's any opportunities that we could look for in the market when the market opens. Starting off with ABSA. Look, there's this worrying bearish flag on ABSA, but the stock still looks like it's flirting with the what was resistance level. Came back, it violated that resistance level. Looks like it's holding again as a resistance level. I entered as it broke back above that level there, um, on the doji with the candle. What I wanted was that, with a break back above the 50-day exponential moving average. So yeah, we'll see if this the support of this small channel, uptrend channel, which is, looks like it's bearish flag, if it's holding. If it does, it's good. If it's not, we're gonna get stopped out as take out that as the market takes out that low there. But we'll see if the battle with the 50-day exponential moving average, the bulls, if the bulls are going to win this battle with the 50-day exponential moving average, or if the bears are going to win this battle with the 50-day exponential moving average. If the bears win, I'm going to get taken out as the market takes out that low. I'm going to get taken out of the trade. Otherwise, if we violate that doji there, which was my entry candle, if we violate the doji there, I'll pull my stop a little bit to that 131 level. And then my next entry on ABSA will be around that 143. But for now, we'll see how the market takes care of itself. Next is African Rainbow. What you'd note that is I'm going through these stocks alphabetically. It's not sector theme or anything like that, because I don't trade in those patterns of trading the sector theme. I can own 5 banks if I want to. In any case, so the African Rainbow, resources stocks taken was taking some got hammered for the past month or so. Starting with a consolidation, eventually breaking to the downside, but looks like it's holding that 200-day exponential moving average. So I'm looking for a breakthrough. That's that resistance level around the 261, but I want to close through that 268. If you get that, I'll take the position with a stop loss there around the 247. There's about, or a little bit lower around that 242, but we'll see how far the market breaks when it breaks through there. Just to touch a little bit of the on because there's a close correlation between the resources stocks and the dollar rand exchange rate, and that's simply because just do that. That's simply because the companies that these companies are selling their resources, gold, platinum, iron ore, and all these resources. They're selling them in dollars, but reporting in rand. So there's that close correlation between the dollar rand exchange rate and the price traded at the resources stocks. So as you can see, we have this inverse head and shoulders pattern here. The stock holding above the 50-day exponential moving average. It broke through the currency breaking through the 50-day exponential moving average, coming back to test it and holding above it. So if we can break through that 1450, if we can get breakthrough 1450, that should bode well for the resources stocks. But we could still see some rand strength coming into the market still. But that head and shoulders pattern is could signal that some weakening or some weakening is coming back into the market. Excuse me. Some rand weakening is coming back into the market, but we'll see over time how that plays out. But for now, we're just putting the focus solely on the stocks chart. So in any case, if we can get through that 268 level, I'll buy African Rainbow with the stop loss around that 242 level. And Plat, it's a similar story with all the resources stocks. So I want to close back above the 50-day exponential moving average. I did get a temptation to take a trade as it broke back above that 1680 resistance level there, which held as support. But now that 50-day exponential moving average was far too close to ignore. So I raised my buy entry ever slightly higher to close above that candle there. If you can get it close through that candle there, and you can see that level was respected as support. It did hold its support a little bit. So if you can get through that close there and that close above the 50-day exponential moving average, take a buy on implant with a stop loss around that 1567 level there. Gold stocks are still taking hit. Perhaps if we get some rand weakening, they'll recover. But the fact that the 50-day exponential moving average is below the 200-day means no further analysis needed there. AB and Bev. So if you zoom out a little bit, as you can see, beautiful classic head and shoulders pattern there. Just change that. So sure, I must type that. Beautiful classic head and shoulders pattern there. So if we can break through that neckline at 1074, I will go long with a stop loss just below that right shoulder there. Perhaps the stock is still gonna sell off a little bit to test that 200-day exponential moving average at the 1,000 rand level. An argument could be made that I can start building my position at these levels, perhaps with half the risk at take it at 0.5% risk. Unfortunately, this would be impossible for me because of the pricing of the stock. So the minimum that I could buy on the stock is one share, and that risks a little bit over 1.5%. So I can't take half a risk here. So I would have to wait for that 1074 breakout of the neckline there to put on my full 1% position with a stop loss just below that right shoulder on AB and Bev. So that stock is not in play as yet. So Aspen, I got stopped on Aspen, ignoring that swing low there. But in any case, if we can get through that 167.83 level, I'll be looking to add to my position with a stop loss around that 158. Let me get a sip of coffee. With a stop loss around that 158 level, if you can get through that 167 level, if you zoom out a little bit, still the giant, perhaps if I can go back into the weekly chart, there's still the giant cup and handle pattern, and You don't see it now, but there's a perhaps I should pull it up a little for a second. Stochastic. So if you remember, we had a bullish divergence a while ago to 2020 already. A bullish divergence with the price making, lower lows and the oscillator at the same time making, uh, um, the oscillator at the same time making higher lows. So on this type of trade, the breakout you would be looking for is a breakout through that which we got. So now we looking at the just remove that, the full extentness of that bullish divergence pattern. Bullish divergence pattern is a classic reversal pattern. So we're looking for a breakthrough that cup and handle, nice round bottom cup, and with the handle forming an ascending triangle pattern there. So if we can get through, let me jump back to the daily chart. If we can get through that 167.80 level, that 167.80 resistance level, if we can get through that, we could potentially see that cup and handle start to play out. And for target traders, that 276, 273 and 243 could be very decent places for targets. As you can see, it's an open runway between those levels. There's no much in terms of support and resistance, but there's no therefore in the market, so we'll see how the market takes care of itself. But that 243 and 273 levels could be quite interesting as targets once we get through that 167.87, call it 167.90 level. Astral Foods, nothing much is happening. We had a breakout and I took the trade. So now I'm just looking for a breakthrough. If we can zoom back a little bit, that resistance level there around that 165. If we can get through 165, I'll add it to the position, trailing my stop behind me. At the moment, 149 is my stop loss place, but we'll see if how the market takes care of itself as it moves higher. Nothing much. 50 days below the 200 days, so we move right along. Balo, it broke out, moved, and it was testing that the 101 support for the first time since the breakout. I did get stopped and I jumped back into the trade as we were closing through that 50-day exponential moving average. But we'll see if we get through 107 again. That'd be great. But if not, we take what we get. If we take out this low here, I'll get stopped out. For a small loss of a little under 1% of my account equity. At that 99.20 level. British American Tobacco, nothing is happening there. First 50 days below the 200 days, so we're moving right along. BHP, similar story with the resources stocks. So if we can get through that 430 resistance level, as you can see, it's holding quite well. There's a fair bit of selling around that 430 level. So if we can get through that, that means the sellers stepped out at least for the time being. I'll take the trade with a stop loss around just below the 200-day exponential moving average, around that 408 level. And if we can get through that resistance level at 444, at 444, I'll add to the position, pulling my stop behind me. perhaps to just below those lows there. And again, if we can get through that 476 and ultimately that 491, I'll be adding my position. I'll be adding two. Excuse me. I'll be adding to my position at those levels. Next is Bitcop. There's a nice overhead resistance level at 319. So if you can get through that 319 level, I'll add to my position with a stop loss around the 303. My stop loss is already only smidgen in profit, basically breaking even. So if you can get through the 319, I'll pull my stop to 303, which I believe would be about 2% profit, which means you could add a 4%, 4% risk on when adding to the position. Bidvest looks like it's holding that 50-day exponential moving average after that sell-loss from a couple of weeks ago in the market. So if you can break back above that 149 level, which was my last purchase price, I'll add again to the position with the stop loss, pulling my stop loss over so slightly below that 50-day exponential moving average of around that 185 level or there's about. If we can get through that 194.66, and then again if we can get through 201, I'll add again to the position and throw my stop behind me on Bidvest, looking quite decent there. Capitec looks like it's playing out to that doji, perhaps to test again that the 50-day exponential moving average. We'll see how that plays out. I'm looking for a close back above that 1684 level. I take a little bit of profit, around 6% profit on Capitec. So I'm looking to jump back into this trade. If you can get through that 1684 level, I'll take the trade with a stop loss just below the 50-day exponential moving average around 1591, and add to the position as we move higher. And because if we can get it close through 1721, that will be a new all-time high close. When we get into all-time highs territory, I like pulling my boxes, so I'll pull my boxes as we travel back into. So what I mean about these boxes is, just quickly draw them a little bit. It's basically just picking up the range. So that's the current box that we currently trading back into. So what I want is the stock to start moving into a computer is letting me down a little bit. There you go. So what I'm looking for is a break back above the higher box. I wanted to move into higher boxes. So I got stopped as it moved back below the slower box. As you can see, it went all the way down to the bottom edge of the lower box with a nice bullish engulfing candle there. But anyway, so if we can get back through, a close above a close above the doji candle around that 1689. I'll jump back into the trade with a stop loss halfway through this lower box, perhaps around the 1626 level on Capitec. I'm liking Capitec quite a bit. Richmond, similarly with Richmond, we're trading pretty much at all-time highs. Could be wrong though, but I believe I'm not 100% sure if the data from a broker goes fully far back, but a similar story. So if we can So if you jump back if you jump into this higher box, I'll add to the position with a stop loss just below the traffic there around that's 170. You know, this trade is already slightly in profit, around 1% or so, in profit, or 0.5%. Clicks. So clicks, I'm looking for a break back above that 1255, which I'll add to the position, trailing my stop to just below the 200-day exponential moving average. And ultimately, if we can get through 263, I'll add again to the position. And again, if we can get through 277, I'll add again to the position. Coronation took quite some selling off after paying that dividend, a few weeks ago, up to a month ago now. So if you can get through the 49 rand level, I'll jump back into this position, which would be quite a decent place, quite a decent entry if we can get through that 49 rand level, holding back above the 200-day exponential moving average. So we can get through that 49 rand level. I'll jump back into the position with an initial stop, just quite some distance away, at that 45 rand 80 level, and then as we start to move higher, that 47 rand level is an even better place. If we can get it close through that 50-day exponential moving average, I'll add it to the position, trail my stop to just below that just below the 200-day exponential moving average, or below the traffic there, at 47 rand. Discam, looking quite decent, but at the minute looking like it has lost its will to rise. But we'll see how the market takes care of it when it opens. I had already about a little over 10% profits when I took the trade, so my position was increased to 2%. So if we can get through the 32 rand level, that'd be great. But otherwise, if I get taken out, I'll be taken out at a slight around 7% profit. Perhaps trailing that stop was a little bit rushed. Maybe a little bit below the traffic there, but that's fine. If we get taken out, you can always jump back in the trade with a re-entry above the 32 rand level there. Discovery, nothing good happens below the 200-day exponential moving average, so we will be standing on the sidelines. But I believe, let's see if that 106 level holds its support. Maybe it'll find some support there, but below the 200-day exponential moving average, my interest stops immediately. Nice bullish flag on Distal, with a bullish engulfing candle, engulfing 1, 2, 3, 4 candles, which it's quite nice. So if you can break through that that bullish flag, I'll pull my stop slightly to that 161 level, and then if you can get through that 172, I'll trail my stop again. And because my last entry, I took a 5% position, because I was at a 40% profit on 40% plus profits on Distal. So now my subsequent entries have to be when my stop is above my last entry. So for now, I'll just be trailing my stop as we break into higher new territory. Gold, nothing good happens when the 50 days below the 200 day, and when the 200 day and the price is below the 200 day. So moving right along. Exaro still managing the trade after paying the giant dividend, but looks like that has been shaken off by the market. So if you can get through 170, I'll trail my stop to 161. So at this moment in time, I'm just managing, managing the trade, managing the risk on the trade. Perhaps the stock is looking to close that gap. Uh, that gap there, which will be closed with those lows there. So if we can get through, if we can get to 174, that gap would have been closed. But if we get close above 170, I'll pull my stop to 161, reducing my risks to. So I'm currently sitting at about 1% and some change. Rather 3% and some change. Risk on the position, closer to 4%. So if we get it close through 170, I'll pull my stop to 161, reducing that risk to about 2.5%. Yeah, and I'll start adding to the position when we, on prices above my last entry, above 175. First round. The banks are looking like they've found a little bit of strength. Buyers are starting to come back into the banks. So if we can get back above that 53.80 level, I'll jump back into first round with a stop loss of 50 rand 90. I'm liking the banks quite a bit at the minute. Looks like they found some support. Let's see if that battle between with the 50-day exponential moving average, is in favor of the bulls. Otherwise, at the minute, it's still in favor of the bears. Perhaps to come back to test that 200-day exponential moving average, but we'll see over the next few days and few weeks. Fortunate group. So I'll turn my stop to just below that traffic there, just below, halfway, not even halfway, but quarter of the way through the gap. So if we start eating that gap up, I want to be out. I can always jump back in, but if we start eating that gap, I want to be out of the position. But if we get it close through 163. And stock looking like denser crouching to jump back higher. So if we can get through 163, I'll add to the position, trail my stop to 149, just below the traffic there, or maybe just below the doji around the 147 level. And adding to my position, fair bit of profit. Sitting in the position around 4%, around 3-4%. Quite some decent profit there. Glencore looking fairly decent. Actually, just move that there out of the way. Yeah, Glencore looks fairly decent. And if you nice giant bullish flag breakout there. Okay. Now that's something. Nice bullish flag breakout. Closing through the 50-day exponential moving average. So I'll be taking this trade tomorrow. When the market opens. Let me just quickly pull. Just want to quickly pull my journal. Just 2 seconds. Okay. Okay. So we have my entry is first. So entry is 62. Call it 62.35 just to account for slippage. Okay, wait. 62.30. With a ATR of 1.5. And my recommended stop is 62.30. It's 49. Man, come on. 62.30. It's 59.30. So my initial stop will be just below the low of the bull flag. So around that 57 rand 30. So let's quickly do the math. Which is more than twice ATR. So entry, call it 62, and then 57.30. So I'll be buying myself 13 shares. Wait a minute, just to be sure. Just update my account balance. My account balance is up to date. So yeah, I'll be buying myself 13 shares. So if you subtract, so 1% of my portfolio is 65 rand 84 cents. So and my risk on this trade will be 5 rand 30. So 630 minus 730. That's about 5 rand. That's about 5 rand. And then if you divide that into 65 rand, you'll get 13 shares. So I'll be buying myself 13 shares at the open later this morning. Just want to make a note for myself. So yeah, I'll be going long at the open on Glencoe. I will do a second video with entries. So moving on, Growth, that's not good. Growth Point. So Growth Point looking quite decent. Growth Point looking quite. I wanted about that 15 rand, and some change level. Then I'll add it to the position with a stop loss around that 1440, 1448 level, just below that 50 exponential moving average. I'm liking rather Growth Point a little bit. Yeah. So next is Harmony. Gold stocks not looking very good, so moving right along. Implants. So a nice bullish flag breakout of the channel, staying above, coming back to test the upper, coming back to test that downtrend channel resistance and holding back above it. But the 50-day exponential moving average was quite close, so now I'm waiting for a close through the 250.90. Back above the 50-day exponential moving average. Then I'll take the position with a stop loss just below, with a stop loss around that 221, just below the 200-day exponential moving average, just to give it a little bit more room, and perhaps if we can then close through 261. Then I can add to the position, trailing my stop to the 231 level, Yeah, liking with also stocks. At least the platinum platinum stocks are starting to see some light there. Imperial, um, it broke the 50 exponential moving average. I have a good feeling that I'll get stopped out. But let's see if the stock takes out these lows there. If it does, I'll get stopped out. If it doesn't, well, that'd be great. So moving right along, Investec. Um, it looks like the selling is halted or slowed down a little bit. Put stock is putting a little some brakes on the selling. So if we can get a close above that 58 rand level, I'll add to the position with a stop loss of just below that traffic, around that 53 and 65 level. Wait a second. Just want to confirm something on where's Glencore. No, we're good. JSE not looking very good. Exchange looks like is in trouble. Exchange's share price looks like it's is in trouble. Kumba looking quite decent, looking like it's starting to move again. So I wanted above that 681 level to add to my position with a stop loss just below that 50-day exponential moving average around 626. Liberty, nothing good happens when 50 days below 200 days, so moving right along. Life Health Care looking fairly decent after that selling off. Looks like the selling off has puts a break a little bit, holding that 50-day exponential moving average. If it starts to display signs of moving back higher, I'll add to the position. Perhaps if we can get through that 23 rand 42 level, I'll add to the position with a stop loss just below the 50-day exponential moving average, just below that swing low there. On the stock around 21 rand 22. Yeah, excuse me, around that 22 rand and some change. So if you can get through 23, I'll add to the position, pulling my stop behind me ever so slightly. Mediclinic below 200 day, no longer interested, moving right along. New Metro. So we have this doji candle on New Metro and this nice symmetrical triangle pattern. So if you can get a close above the close of the doji, close above 1954, if you can get through a close above that level, I'll start building the position with half the risk, because that's more of a preemptive trade. And then if I can break through that symmetrical triangle, then I'll add again to the position with a 4%, with a full position on the stock. But I'll start building with at least half the risk. In fact, let me just quickly do this. Delete all these tools. Right? If you an invalidation of the doji is actually a valid strong breakout. So if we can get through 1955, I will no longer take half a position. I'll take a full position with a stop loss just below that swing low there, just below that low of that candle there, at 1825. So I'll take the full position if you can get through 1955. Next is Monday. Monday, I wanted about that 395 level to trail my stop. But if we can get a close above 384, I'll trail my stop ever so slightly to that 368 level, because we'll be clearly be in this higher box. So if you can get through that level, I will not add to the position as yet. I'll just trail my stop to 368, and if we can get through that 395 resistance, then I'll add to my position. Mr. Price, looking like it closed. It looks like it wants to close that gap. But now it's holding that 50-day exponential moving average. So if we can get through 216, I'll jump back into the trade with a stop loss around that 202.35. That 202.35 level there. Just grab grab some water. So MTN, a nice doji candle there. This is classic doji with followed by a green candle, just starts to move. So if we can get through 108 level, I'll add to the position. This is what brought me back in. It closed back above that. Closed back above the candle there, with a nice doji holding that support. So if we can get through a 108, I'll add to the position and trail my stop. And trail my stop behind me. So I want it above that 108 level. MTN is looking quite decent at the moment. Nothing good happens when price is below 200-day exponential moving average. So moving right along from multi-choice. Nedbank, nice bullish flag building there. So if you can get through 171.30, I'll add to the position and trail my stop to around that 160 and some change. I think I'd be setting it about percent, a percent or two in profits once I move the stop to 160. Rock moving into higher box quite nicely. So yeah, at the moment I'm happy where it is. If the market gives on me another entry, I'll take the position. If it gives me another entry in this box, take the position with a stop loss around that 97, just below the 50-day exponential moving average. On Rock, looking quite decent. Netk, below that 200-day exponential moving average, no longer interested. It looks like it's holding again as resistance. So no longer interested there. On Netk, Northern Resources, again looking quite decent. Nice head and shoulders pattern. So I want to close it back above the neckline. And it closed back above the 50-day exponential moving average. If we can get through that resistance level, which was support, as you can see, it held there and it held again there, and come back to hold as resistance. So if you can get through 231, I'll add it to the position. Perhaps 233, I'll add to the position and take the position rather. With a stop loss just below that right shoulder around that 211, around the 200-day exponential moving average. Old Mutual, I want it back above 13 rand. Looks like it's still fighting, still between that 50-day and 200-day exponential moving average. So if we can get back above 1356, I'll start building the position, and if we can get through 1480, and then I'll add to the position and start running and fully building the position and running it. Excuse me. Pepco, looking quite good, looking like it didn't take as much hit as the rest of the market, or during that sell off the past 2 weeks ago, and I like that in the stock. So if you can get through that 20 rand 92 level, I'll be adding to my position with a stop loss around that 1920 level. I'm sitting at about 5% that would increase to about 7 or 9%. Let me just have a quick look see on the journal here next to me. Disappear. So currently sitting at about 6% if we move no, my bad. PPH. That's the code. So I'm sitting at about 7.6% profit at the stage at this point in time. So if I trail my stop to that 1940 level, that increases to 9.5% profit. So I'll be adding to the position, knowing that I'm 9% up on the stock. So there's no longer risk on the position. Pick and pay below 200 days, so moving right along. As you can see, we're moving right along. No more commentary there. Real Bafokeng. So want it to close back above that support. As you can see, this 108.20 level held quite strongly as support, and came back to hold is now resistance. So if you can get through 108.20, I'll add to the position with a stop loss, raising my stop to 195. So I'm rebuilding this position. So raising my stop to that 195 rand level on Real Bafokeng. Rainet, nothing good happens, so moving right along. Remgro had this nice doji candle flirting with the 50-day exponential moving average. So if you can get through that candle there, because I missed that breakout back above the 50-day exponential moving average. So if you can close back above that candle at around that 116.35. Let's see, what was it close here? 116.37. So if you can get through that level, I'll jump back into the trade with a stop loss just below the traffic. Just below the traffic there, around that 111. So Rand Merchant, I've been beating quite a bit on the stock, but now closing back below the 200 day exponential moving average, so moving right along. But I want it back, above 33.52. Before that, I'm no longer interested in the stock. So Sanlam looking quite decent. There's a fair bit of wind at the back of this trade. If you jump back to the weekly charts, nice cap and handle pattern with the handle. If you zoom into the handle, nice head and shoulders pattern, nice with the strong, very clear neckline. So and the right shoulder forming a falling wedge. And that's just quite decent. So if you can get a breakout through the falling wedge, I'll start building the position, putting half the risk, and putting a full position above the neckline, above 63 rand, and adding again to the position above that 64 and 90 level. Sometimes that doesn't look good. Moving right along. Sapi, nice bullish flag breakout. But that 50-day exponential moving average was a little bit too close. So if you can get it close above the 42 rand level, back above the 50-day exponential moving average, I'll take the position with a stop loss just below the low. Just below the low of 36 rand 46. Sorry about that. I hit my boom so yeah. So if you can get through that 42 rand 27, 42 rand 30 level, I'll take the position and building the position around 44, 47 and 50, and ultimately 52. So if you can break through these levels, I'll be adding to my position as we break through rather 45 instead of 44. as we and 47, yeah, and then the rest is just fine. Yeah, and yeah, that's good. So I'll be building this position around 42, 45, 47, 50, and 52. Sasso, almost at the end. Sasso. So if we can get through that 224 back above the 50-day exponential moving average, I'll I'll jump back into the trade with a stop loss just below that swing low there around the 220 level, and then above 240 I'll add to the position with a stop loss just below that traffic around 211, and ultimately again above 250 I'll add again to the position, and we'll see how the market reacts, and pick a decent place to place a stop point once we get it close through that, call it 251. Nice cup and handle on ShopRite, and my stop is just below that. The handle at the minute. So if you can get through that 162.50 level, 162.60, I'll add to the position with a stop loss around that 152.90. This trade is looking quite decent at the minute. Sebanye. So Sabanye holding the 200-day exponential moving average. So wanted to break back above that 64 rand support. If you can get it through that 64 rand support back above the 50-day exponential moving average, I'll jump back into the trade with a stop loss. With a stop loss just below the traffic, just below the 200-day exponential moving average around that 57 rand level. Standard Bank still fighting with the 50-day and the 200-day exponential moving average, but we did make a higher low, which is quite significant to see, and that's the second higher low that we had on the stock. So that's making high lows is good. So I wanted to close back above the 127.90, back above the 200-day exponential moving average, above that 128.80 level. So with a stop loss below that, the traffic there around that 122.30 level. SPAR, not good, so moving right along. Telecom looks like it's testing and holding that the support of the box that it's currently in. So if we I wanted to back above 48 rand, if we could get it close through 48 rand before I get stopped, because I'm quite close to being stopped. But if you can get through 48 rand, I will add to the position and trail my stop behind me. Tiger Brands, chunked, eaten back more than half the previous box, holding that 200-day exponential moving average. So I wanted to break back above the higher box. So back above 218. If we can get through back above 218, I'll add to the position, with a stop loss for now at just below the traffic, just below the 200 exponential moving average. As you can see, that's a higher low. So if you can get through that 218, I'll take the trade with a stop loss around 202 on Tiger Brands. Transaction Capital, one of my second biggest trade at the minute. So if we can get it close back above 34.80, I'll add to the position with a stop loss at 36.80, and that would be, and let me see if what size position I'll be adding on Transaction Capital. I'll be adding about a 3% risk on the trade, because I'll be sitting at about 30% profit. So yeah, about 30% risk on the trade. Once we get through 38.40, we there's still a bit of selling happening there at that level. If the sellers step aside, I'll take, because we had a nice giant bullish engulfing candle, engulfing one, two, three, four candles. Um, that's quite decent. If we can get it close through 38.40, I'll add to the position, trailing my stop to around the 36.80 level. I'm adding transaction capital quite a bit. It's my second biggest trade behind Distill. Truwards, holding that 50-day exponential moving average quite nicely. If you can get a closer back above that for 59 Rand 25, I'll add to the position, trailing my stop for now at 55 Rand 50. Vodacom still a bit of volatility. So I wanted above the 31 Rand 60 level with a stop loss just below the traffic there, around that 124 level there on Vodacom. So for now, I'm just waiting on the sideline, but it looks like it's still holding that 50-day exponential moving average, or rather 200-day exponential moving average. So my problem with not entering before that breakthrough 131, 132 level is because the stocks has a tendency of just violating the 200-day exponential moving average. So I want it back above that 132.70 level. So last on the list is Woolies. So Woolies looking quite good, holding that 50-day exponential moving average with a nice giant bullish engulfing candle there. So if you can get through that 55 Rand 80, I'll add to the position and throw my stop to that 52 Rand level. Last but not least, our index, the top 40, the Stochastic 40, still range bound between that's 3 and 60 Rand, 60,000 and 63 range. So if we can get through if you can get through that 63 Rand 53 level, top 40 starts to look good. If I bring back my delay, because I trade this Trix 40 on the lazy at the moment, signaling a bearish stand, with bearish trigger there. The bearish trigger that failed, so we had a bearish trigger that confirmed. But I don't trade on the short side, so that was not because the 30-day had not crossed as yet. So our first trigger was there, which failed. So now we have a second bearish trigger. So if I get it close below that, that's confirmation. But there's a good chance that that 59 Rand will hold. So yeah, and I don't trade on the bearish side anyway. So for the lazy folks, I'm not lazy folks, folks that are trading the lazy system, or on the short side, that's a trigger there. Close below that 60 Rand 79 is a confirmation on the short side. I personally don't trade on the short side, so I have to wait for the 30-day exponential moving average to cross back above the 60-day exponential moving average, to entertain any triggers there. So that's it for me. Do comment down on the do get down in the comment section down below. Comment on the stock that you're looking at, and of any of the stock that I picked up there. Let me know what's your favorite stock at the moment, or the stock that you're looking to trade, or the biggest winner at the so far and your biggest loss. Do let me know on the comment section down below. And if you have any question, feel free to drop me an email on jabulo@villagetrader.co.za, or just drop a comment with your question and timestamp on the comment section down below. So As I close this market scan, I'll be buying 13 shares of Glencore with a stop loss of 57.30. Otherwise, yeah, we'll check you again next time. Thank you for hanging with me. We'll chat again later. Cheers.